Now you've installed the CD, you've registered the product, and you started the interview process. The interview process is just a basic step-by-step guide on exactly how to go about setting up your company file. Some of us may have passed that because we already are familiar with QuickBooks, and if that's the case, well, this maybe not be the lesson for you. But for those of us who went ahead and started the interview, this is the first screen that you're going to come towards. Now, in the company name field, you're going to want to put the name that the vendors or the customers know you as. Sometimes this may be different than your actual company name because you have a DBA or a fictitious name. So you're going to want to put in the company name field how the customers or the vendors know you out in the public. Now, the legal name, this is going to be your actual legal name of your company. In this case, I've chose John Doe Services, Inc. This is the information that would possibly be on any legal forms or any tax forms. So again, you're going to want to make sure that this information is accurate because this is what your customers and vendors will see when you're communicating with them. Now go ahead and fill out your tax ID, your address, and in the phone and fax field, you will notice I have two different formats. In these formats, it's just basically based on preference. So if you are the type of person who wants your phone numbers to be shown as just the hyphenated type, then you're going to want to use this option. If you like your phone numbers to have parentheses, then you're going to want to use this option. Again, it's complete preference at this point in the game. Go ahead and fill out your email address and website. Again, all the information here is what's going to be used to communicate with your customers and your vendors. And it's also going to be shown on your tax forms at the end of the year, whether that be a W-2, a 1099, or even your payroll tax filings if you do choose to have payroll done inside of QuickBooks. Once you're done with the screen, hit Next. Now, this is going to be basically a list of businesses or industries that you could choose from. So, for instance, if you have a bookkeeping company, you're going to want to use the accounting and bookkeeping industry. This basically will create a chart of accounts for you and basically give you a easy or reference type plan to setting up your company file. For this instance, I'm going to use just a general service-based business because John Doe Services is just general service. I don't see it listed in here any way to categorize my business, so I'm just going to use it as general service-based. Hit Next once you choose your option. Now, you're going to want to choose how your company is organized. If you're a sole proprietorship, this means that you are a person in business for yourself. You don't necessarily have an incorporation or an LLC. Maybe you're a business consultant or a real estate agent, and you're just in business for yourself. For this case, you're going to want to use sole proprietorship. Again, you're going to want to just go through and figure out exactly how you are set up legally. And again, this is just for tax filings as well and tax line instruments when setting up chart of accounts. If you do not know, you can hit Other or None and then get with your accountant or your CPA and figure out where you stand. Now hit Next. Now the fiscal year is typically when you want your income year for your business to start. Most people go from January to December. However, there has been customers that I've had that have went from, maybe June to December. That's what they wanted their fiscal year to be. It's all, again, based on your preference. How do you want your 12 months to be, and when do you want it to start? So for this case, I'm going to choose January. Now, it's going to go ahead and go through the process at this point and create your QuickBooks file. For the sake of this tutorial, I've already done so. Just because it's a few minutes of just loading the software itself. So now we're going to go through customizing your file. Hit Next. So at this point, what are you going to sell? Are you going to only sell services? Or are you going to sell products? Or are you going to do both? You're going to sell services and products. If you're going to sell services and products, it'll basically be like a tire shop. A tire shop sells services by fixing the tires and by maybe installing the tires, but they also may sell tires. So in this case, you would sell both. So just for argument's sake, I'm going to go ahead and say both products and services. Are you going to charge sales tax? If you sell products, more than likely you will have sales tax. And it's going to tell you in this interview process, as you see here, that it is recommended for your type of business to go ahead and select that option. But you may not have to. So again, it's based on how your company is formed. Hit next. Do you want to create estimates in QuickBooks? Again, this is a good tool because it's something that you can send by email and something that you can have unified to send to customers to give them estimates, bids, proposals on whatever products and services you were selling. So again, for sake of argument, I'm going to select yes. Do you want to track their orders in QuickBooks? So do you want to see which orders are filled or not filled? This can get a little bit more complicated, but it can be done. But just for this sake, for setting it up, I'm going to go ahead and just choose no. And again, any options that you select in these windows here in QuickBooks, you can always go back and change, but this is just the initial setup. Do you want to use billing statements? So again, it's recommended for your business to do so, and basically it would be, a billing statement is just basically, you know, John Doe owes me $3,000, that's 90 days past due. You want to be able to show that, so for this sake, I'm going to say yes. Progress invoicing. Again, this is completely up to you. If you're a consultant, you might want to have progress invoicing that basically you bill based on the progress of the project. For this sake, I'm going to say no. Do you want to manage the bills? Do you want to know which vendors you owe money to? Do you want to track how much you owe? Do you want a reminder of when the bills are due? Basically, just keep track of your bills because some of us get busy. And sometimes we may forget that a bill's due next week, and we may incur late fees. So this is just a simple feature to show you, hey, we know that you're there. This is the bill that you owe. Do you want to go ahead and pay it now? So I'm going to hit yes. Do you have inventory? If you sell products, you may have inventory or you might not. So again, you want to select whether or not you want to track inventory, and I'm going to say no. Do you want to track time in QuickBooks, whether you have times that you spend on projects for customers? This would be helpful during the progress billing. Do you want to pay your employees or your contractors? Do you want to track time in QuickBooks? So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Now, are you going to have employees? This is something that you need to think about. Again, you can go back and change this if you need to, but if you're going to have employees, you're going to want to have a payroll service. And you can go to an outside service, or you can progress or process payroll here. But again, there is a subscription fee. Now, you can say, yes, we're going to have W-2 employees. We're going to have just 1099 employees. You can say, nope, we're not going to have any employees at all. It's just going to be me and myself and I, or me and my husband, or whatever. So I'm going to select no just for right now. Now, using accounts in QuickBooks, this window is basically saying we're going to get started on your chart of accounts. Okay, when do you want to begin this fiscal year? We're going to go ahead and just choose the beginning of the year. If you want to use just the first day of the quarter, you can enter transactions then. You can also customize it if you want by saying I want to put in today's date. It's completely up to you. But I'm just going to say the beginning of the year. Okay. So here is your chart of accounts. Now basically anything with a check mark is showing you what's going to be created in your chart of accounts. If you want to select some more accounts to have something to do with your business, well then by all means go ahead and put a check mark next to it. Like I might think about it and say, hey, I might be running some promotional deals. Let me go ahead and put sales discounts in there. And I'm going to have a credit card account, so, credit card processing account. So let me select merchant fees. May have some subcontractors. Business licenses, yes. Not necessarily going to do any charitable contributions just yet, but, I might have some dues and subscriptions, like a payroll subscription or something like that I have to pay monthly. Insurance, these are basically subcategories. So if you know that you're going to have liability insurance and workers' comp and professional liability, you can select those options as well. Miscellaneous expense, there might be some of those. So again, just go through here and figure out which accounts you think that you're going to have. Again, you can add accounts later, not a big deal. So once you're done with that, go ahead and hit next. Now it's going to go ahead and set everything up for you. So let's go ahead and go to setup. Thank you for your time, and that ends our session on how to set up your company file in QuickBooks. If you want more information or possibly sending us some ideas on instructional videos that could help you, you can always visit us at our website, www.equalityfinancialservices.com, or you can email us at demos@equalityfinancialservices.com. Thank you again for your time.